Welcome back to you listeners to another brilliant episode on the Mindful Living podcast. I'm your host, and as always, here bringing conversations for all of you. But today's conversation, listeners, let me tell you, it's for anyone who feels like stress and anxiety are not just emotions, but they are a constant background noise in life. It has kind of been normalized now. Like, we do not feel anything specific. We feel like all the time stressed, anxious, and sometimes we feel that it's a kind of badge of honor to say to people that I'm so stressed. And this is also about the kind that follows you even when things look fine on the outside. Yeah. And we talk a lot about on this show about mindfulness, being in the present moment, regulation, nervous system regulation, emotional awareness. But today, we're exploring a tool that some people find deeply practical, others question or even resist. It's so the question here is this a grounding method for releasing stress, or is it another wellness approach that risks oversimplifying complex inner experiences? Stick with us because we are definitely going to explore the answers to these questions. And also, to help us in this exploration with honesty, I'm joined by Marla Ballard, CEO of You to Shine and Director of Unconquerable MEE. Now, Marla works closely with leaders, veterans, and high performing individuals who carry pressure quietly, and they often feel responsible for staying strong. And let me tell you, listeners, Marla brings a calm, grounded perspective, and she's known for translating emotional and mental complexity into something which is practical, which is usable for all of us in everyday life. And with that, listeners, let's get on to this conversation. And Marla, welcome to the Mindful Living, and I'm really, really honored to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here. I appreciate you and I appreciate the immense commitment to bring mindful living to people and for everybody on here listening who is committed to creating better life for themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely, Marla. Okay, Marla, let's begin. I just don't want to start only with the tool here, but
Okay.
actually, understanding before even understanding the benefits here, let's try to look at, like what specific problem this tool is trying to solve. So when it comes to stress and anxiety, I mean, in your experience, Marla, I mean, what do you think, what specific problem is MEEFT is trying to solve here? Like, if you can give us a background, like how this all came together.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to share some background about it. So I am the CEO of You to Shine. That's why you, the number two, shine. We are a quantum personal development company. In fact, in 2024, Forbes actually named us a pioneer in quantum personal development.
Hmm.
And so, what that really is a journey of surrendering to love by aligning the heart, the mind, and universal laws to release limitations and be able to expand from your own infinite worth into joyful freedom, creative abundance, and oneness with God. Oneness with that great overall designer higher power, right? And
Hmm.
so with that, my journey with the tool that we have. So FreeMe EFT is
Hmm.
actually a licensed and trademarked uh, modality that we have at You to Shine. It is a form of EFT that was originated really back in the 80s. And that particular tool can be used in so many different ways. But to give you a little background for myself and how I came to it, I had a lot of trauma and stress in my younger life. And like a lot of people, right? I don't know, Sana, that anybody really makes it to the age of 25, I don't think, without having something happen that can
Hmm.
cause some kind of trauma or stress or anxiety. I think that's
Hmm.
a normal part of human condition. But in 2010, I started looking for tools to help heal trauma and stress and anxiety.
Mhm.
And that was when I was first introduced to what's called tapping or EFT. And at first I practiced it and I liked it. I got a lot of relief from it. It basically involved tapping on the acupressure and acupuncture meridians in a specific sequence, while saying certain words to release trapped energy. But what was happening was, over time as I used it, I felt more and more drained by it. And it was very complicated. The way that, the group that I was practicing it with put a lot of emphasis on language and saying the correct words, and I found that to be very burdensome because when you're stressed, the last thing you need is to try to say words perfectly to release your stress. And so I felt like it was both helpful, but I also felt like it was draining. And so I did it for about 6 months and then I just stopped. And 5 years later, I met Victoria Rader, who is the founder of You to Shine, the company that I'm now CEO for. And, in 2015, she was doing spiritual and business coaching, and so I hired her, as my business coach, and she reintroduced this technique to me, um, because really for me to move forward successfully with the things I was wanting to create, we needed to release me from a lot of the stress and anxiety that was holding me back, right?
Yeah.
So she reintroduced this technique, but she was doing things differently with it
Mhm.
that I had not experienced before.
Mm.
And over the years, as I completed my year of coaching with her, I had been on 4 boards of directors. I had started a ton of business networking groups, around the Washington, D.C., national capital region in the United States. Um, I had been coaching and mentoring people in business for over, gosh, 10 years at that point. And so I had a lot of people asking me to go into coaching and consulting. And I had had such success and ease with the tools she gave me. I started pestering her, um, to teach me how I could get certified so I could use those same tools. And so over time, um, over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, she really started, paying attention to what she was doing with her own clients and how we were using the EFT technique differently. And so we found that there was a distinct pattern. And so what we've licensed and trademarked is how we apply it, how we teach it, how we
Mhm.
instruct it to our practitioners, and then how people who go on to become instructors to licensed practitioners. And so all of that is now licensed and trademarked to us because we have added some things to the EFT sequence that are very unusual that
Yeah.
really simplify it and make it more accessible and available and extremely effective.
Hmm. It's a very, very interesting journey, one. I mean, it's I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you found your purpose. I mean, fortunately, unfortunately, through exploring your own trauma, your own lived experiences, and you kind of like created your path from here. You found your purpose in exploring this modality, and also, uh, like you mentioned that you how you had like you pestered Victoria to help you. I did. I did. I can imagine that. I can imagine that, and I think it kind of really gives or exhibits that how much passionate you were in exploring this and sharing with all the people. Not only maybe in the states or in your country, but
Mhm.
whosoever. And go ahead, Marla. Go ahead.
Yeah, we at this point we have trained people all over the world, including in your country in India, in FreeMe EFT now. Absolutely. And so the way that when we decided to bring this to the world, the way that we decided to structure the program is so first of all, You to Shine founder Victoria Rader has an incredible gift of simplifying things to make things very, very easy and accessible. It's an extraordinary gift, really. And
Mhm.
the capacity to create ways to teach and interact with what she's been able to simplify. So our
Mm.
training program for this, our licensing program for this is really an incredible program. I personally believe and encourage people that are instructing any modality to come and take our FreeMe EFT classes because just the way that it is taught and created will support them. And so when we created this, though, we didn't want to confine it only to our company. So the way that this modality works is we have people now have the option to become a certified instructor after they've been a practitioner. And as an instructor, you're allowed to certify other practitioners. And so
Oh,
we created that so because we really want people to have spiritual freedom and empowerment and leadership and be able to make money. Like, making money is important, you know? When we talk about, mindfulness, it's important that we all can succeed financially as well, so we have the resources to contribute what we're here to be in the world. And so the way that we have done this is we license practitioners so they can go out on their own and use this technique in their own practice, in their own business, and charge for it independently of us. We don't take a percentage or anything like that. We have a one time annual subscription for participation and recertification, and that's it. And then once people have become a practitioner, if they also want to teach it and certify other practitioners in their communities, they can become an instructor and same thing. They can run their own courses and take payment themselves so it becomes part of their business structure to support them financially as well.
well, absolutely makes sense. And I don't know if, maybe a few of the listeners would find it a bit, not controversial, but, they may not agree. But what I also absolutely agree with you, Manu, like you said, we we need to make money, and it doesn't mean because it's different for different people. Like
Mhm,
you don't have to compare yourself with others, but at least in the current situation, looking at the fluidity of circumstances, or we're talking about stability or the instability, the resources, the availability or unavailability, whatever it is, I think at least, excuse me, to achieve a good life here,
mhm,
financial health and wellness is a very, very important part of mindfulness as well. I mean, I have had so many episodes and conversations on different podcasts, in fact, on mindful living also, that how um, mindfulness is needed even in building your financial stability. And you also brought up this point, and that's why it kind of made me think about like reminisce about all those episodes. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
a quick pause for you listening listeners. If this conversation is already giving you language for what you feel inside, or if you feel it's helping you see your patterns with a little less shame, hit follow. All right, back to it. Okay, Samara, let's get to understanding the FreeMe EFT here.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this.
Yes, super. So I have had conversations on different tools, different modalities, EFT as well.
mhm,
In fact, in my life, for the first time, I got introduced. Even I've heard about EFT. Credit to all these podcasts, all these shows I'm doing. I never knew about it. Um, so how different is FreeMe EFT than any other modality, or maybe the basic what people know about EFT as a tool?
So as a tool, what's different about it is that I believe we have simplified it further and we've added a few adjustments and additions and modifications to it. So one of the things with traditional EFT is it's all about releasing emotion and feeling. The
Mm.
challenge with that, and one of the reasons why I believe I found it draining, is that once you've released all that trapped emotion, you go out in the world, you've basically created like an open container.
Mm.
So whatever the next emotion that comes in and can take its place. And so with FreeMe EFT, one of the refinements that we've made to that is that we actually very diligently bring in a new program, new emotion, new belief system that we activate directly through somatic technique with the heart in order to actually bring in something that better takes the place of it so that the person raises their vibration immediately and you basically close the loop. The second thing that we've done differently is, like I said, my challenge with the way I learned it was very stuck in language and doing it right, doing it perfectly, saying the right thing, tapping on the right point. What we have found is that for every individual, the body has its own wisdom. The body knows what it needs. Your body knows what it needs in any given moment, so does mine. And what we were observing is that even when we started tapping, sometimes people might tap a little out of sequence, or sometimes they might
Mm.
tap on a point longer on their own, or sometimes they might tap somewhere on their body that they found themselves wanting to tap on that wasn't part of the original sequence at all. And so the reason why we call it Free Me is we started realizing that the most important thing in the way that we're teaching it and working with it is honoring the client and how what their process is and keeping it simple so that they are free to have their energy release in whatever way they need to, being supported in that rather than corrected or trying to get it right or make it difficult or having to follow it perfectly. And so that's the free part, the freedom.
Mm.
And so those are just some of the things that we've adjusted and adapted. And then the other aspect, of course, is specifically how we teach it, because we really teach it through understanding energy and how energy moves at the atomic level and through the body, how the universal laws work. And then over our 3-day practitioner course, we don't just teach one form of release, we teach a number of forms. So we teach people how to work with stress and anxiety. We teach people how to work with releasing persistent sadness. We teach people how to work with weight loss, how to work with different foods and allergens, to use FreeMe EFT for healing. We teach people how to work with collective consciousness programs and sayings and belief systems. We teach people how to use it to work with money and business. And so the practitioner course, the instructor course is very comprehensive because we don't just teach it for one avenue of release. We teach multiple different ways to use the technique so that when that practitioner or that instructor then goes out in the world, they are comfortable using it for whatever comes up, um, and have a background and experience of having done that.
Mm. I think it absolutely it makes sense, because some critics would say that EFT or tools like these are just coping mechanisms. Like they help people feel better temporarily. The observation that you pointed out, that it would open like a space for the new emotions to kind of fill in. So I think here FreeMe EFT is not only standing alone, but I think it is getting complemented by, other forms of support or self-inquiry, depending on the person. They're honoring their background, their structure, the way, their body reacts or
Mhm.
behaves, or they feel or they perceive everything.
Yes, yes. And and even the me, so where you're saying free me, if you I don't know if you noticed on our logo and our branding, but it's a little M with a great big E.
Yes. It
And the reason for that is very specific. We understand that our physical body is our mortal matter, it's manifesting materially, right?
Mm.
And so that comes down to all the things we were talking about. It's the body, it's how we interact in the world, right? It comes down to money. It's all that matter and material. But that's not all that we are. The other part of what we are is our spirit, right? Our eternal energy essence that is ever expanding through love. And so The little m and the big E is a recognition that we are both, right? Because when you really look at our physical body and our spirit, and this is what I believe, but when you understand energy, spirituality, we are this massive energy that doesn't just inhabit the body, but is in and through the body, right? Because our auric field is actually outside. When they measure an auric field, it's actually outside of the physical body
Yeah.
for most people by about 4 to 6 feet, right? So
Mhm.
when they're just resting, and so when you look at that, we've got to recognize that we're both, and both need to be cared for. And so with FreeMe EFT, what we're understanding and what we're teaching is very simply that emotion is energy in motion through our body. And when we look at when we have an emotional reaction to something, a lot of times our our natural state will be to suppress it. So like if you're on your podcast and something upsets you, you got to get through your podcast while suppressing that emotion until later, right? And
Yeah.
so then the question is, okay, so where did it go? So what happens is if you really look at the body energetically, our body is actually more space than anything else. If you even look around you, we mostly are in space, right? Even if you look at the room around you, you'll see things in the room, but the bulk of the room around you is space. And so what we understand is at the atomic level and the subatomic level is that our bodies are made up of cells, which are made up of molecules, which are made up of the atoms. And in the atom, the distance between an electron and the nucleus of the atom is proportionally greater than the distance between the sun and any one of the planets in the solar system. So at the atomic level, that's a lot of space. So when we trap an emotion by suppressing it, it gets stored or stuck in that space. And so what I believe happens when we start tapping out the meridians and we're releasing that, we're allowing that stuck trapped energy to finally move. And so people will have all kinds of amazing reactions when they're practicing free EFT. Some people will yawn a lot. Some people will stretch. They'll feel their body. They'll want to move their shoulders or stretch. They'll shake their arms. They'll start yawning. They'll feel like any tension or constriction in the body will start to open and release because now you're moving that energy through. So once you get that energy moving, then not only are you releasing that old programming out of the body that's been trapped there, now you really are free to bring in something new and create from something completely new. And so that's really just a generalization of how and why it works so beautifully to give you an idea.
I was completely hooked on to that, explanation one. I mean, yes, I'm for the listeners, Science 101, like if you look at the microscopic levels, I mean, leave about the outer universe, but let's talk about the universe inside our body, like at the atomic level. Um, I mean, it's out of, I mean, it's really, really so interesting. And that's why I think once we start acknowledging and respecting the inner universe which is in our bodies, within our bodies, whether it's
Mhm.
the matter or the energy, the frequency, the vibrations that we talk about in general conversations as well. These are happening at microseconds, milliseconds. I don't know because I don't have the current unitary to define, but
Exactly.
happening there. And sometimes I really wonder how everything is kind of, coming in sync. And it's like there is a flow here, like a definite flow here. And when we are trying to suppress our emotions, that flow kind of, it breaks down. And
Yes.
that's why, maybe our body reacts, or we as a human, are, it manifests in some or the other way.
Yeah.
And um and I believe that's why it's not just about one tool, but it has to be looked at a holistic way,
I
not just
agree.
something specific.
100%. I totally agree with you, and that was one of the other things because, I am trained in spiritual healing modalities as an intuitive
Mm,
healer, and one of the things that I discovered is when I use that modality only, I we can get great results, but there's another piece that the body still needs attention. And so what I was finding is that when I combined our FreeMe EFT technique with the intuitive healing modalities, people's results were so much greater because when we can release that stuck energy in the body and then start to help change the belief system and bring in new energy, you see it shifts things very, very quickly.
yeah.
Yeah, and so, the other thing that I have observed is this, is so when I bring in a new coaching client, my very first session, the first thing I'm gonna ask when I'm meeting with a person or in the discovery session is, "What is it you wanna work on today?" Or, "What is it that, um, that I'm here to help you with?" Right? Because
Mhm.
we have to identify that. One of the things that I have found is that on occasion, I have had people come to a first session, and if they're in deep grief or deep emotion or deep loss or deep stress,
Mm.
even talking to tell me what they need can be difficult.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what I started doing was using FreeMe EFT technique immediately by saying, "Hey, as we talk, just follow my body." And then I will demonstrate the tapping and let them talk and as they're already releasing some of the heavy emotion that's overwhelming, even as we're talking in that first session, so we can get to a baseline to start. And what I found about that that is so valuable to me is if someone is having an experience in their life that is so overwhelming that even trying to explain it is difficult, then where do you go as a coach if you don't have the tool for that?
True.
You know, because if you can't even help somebody through that first difficult conversation of even letting you know what they need. And so for me, that technique has become so invaluable, and I've
Mm.
had, uh, clients that are healing right away, even in the discovery call or even in our very first session, right in the very first moment because of being able to use this technique. And so I highly recommend it for anybody who's in coaching, anybody who's in consulting, anybody who's building teams, anybody who is training and developing people, right? Anybody who is working with groups and communities. And the other thing I love about how we've structured it is I believe very much in peer to peer healing as well.
Yeah,
I really do.
yeah. Because after all, the human to human connection, that is the essence really. And whether it's machines or techniques or tools or talk about AI as well. I think that human to human connection needed is standing the test of time and it will stand the test of time.
Absolutely.
Well, I wish we could we could go on and on about this, but if yeah, one thing, I mean, if we can devote another 5 minutes to it. Like one question that comes to my mind is, you mentioned about people like someone who has a lot of stress, a lot of sometimes emotions or emotional distress, um created due to traumatic past or experiences, and they have now kind of become skeptic or a kind of non-believer in solutions available. I mean, they would say that, nothing is working on me. I have tried talk therapy, I've tried retreats, I've tried spiritual journeys, but it's not working out for me. I mean, it kind of has become, come to a point, where they're kind of now, they have this, bad taste about all of these, possible options out there. So for someone who is absolutely skeptic around tools like FreeMe EFT, modality solutions like FreeMe EFT, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, we have to recognize I fully recognize everything is not for everybody,
Mm,
right? So to a certain degree, one of the most important things in the world to me is I never force healing on anybody.
mm,
If people are attracted to this and they want to learn more, they want to work with us, they want to find out about it and they want to heal, that's a great person. I'll work with people like that all day long. So I want to be clear, it is never my personal mission to convert somebody who doesn't want to be converted. To my point of view. So
yeah.
now as far as skepticism goes, listen, I think all of us have worked with people across every industry who are who did not deliver what they said they could. That's reality, right? I have worked with amazing coaches. I've worked with a few bad ones. I've worked with amazing healers. I've worked with a few bad ones. Um, I've worked with all kinds of different instructors and teachers. Many of them have been amazing, others have just frankly been terrible. And so the skepticism, I believe, comes when people have had a bad experience
Mm,
with someone. And I think that it's important for a couple things. One is recognize it for what it was, that there was a misalignment. You just weren't aligned with the right, I believe, with the right person or the right energy at that time. And there's probably an incredible learning that came from it. And so the question then becomes is, are we open to trying again or trying something new or seeking a higher alignment uh, with someone else, I think. And then as far as the energy healing goes, um, it's fascinating to me more and more that I believe science supports spirituality. Um, a lot of the media would like to act like they're in opposition, but I don't believe that. Just like you and I were talking about things at the atomic level, we know that when we go down through the subatomic level, down below quarks, down below everything else, we get to light. Yeah. Period. Science supports that. So when spiritualists say you're love and light, well, you are. And science has proven it because it's all light. And so
mm,
and so it's really a matter of whether or not people are open and whether or not we're going to open our heart, open our mind, and open to surrendering to love and letting more love and light
mm,
in the direction we want to go in. It really is. And so I understand skepticism. I have plenty of it. I certainly have to as is my role in business and leadership, right?
mm.
But at the same time, I'm always open to possibilities that I haven't seen before, to what I don't know, to learning something I don't know. And I think that's the key is we get to choose that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Marla, because um I really appreciate your honesty and the there's a feeling of gratitude here and also an acceptance that yes, skepticism is welcome. I think that's where
Absolutely.
science and spirituality they prosper because every day or every year, every decade, every century, maybe there's a particular theory which is going to contradict another theory, or we would absolutely see proofs that this is not relevant anymore. So it's always progressive and it's always changing, and I think um, awareness and acceptance, and of course clarity, that openness, and the fact that we have that choice to make. I think that's here what makes us humans kind of feel thankful for what we have.
I agree. I really agree. And so, yeah, I'm never closed off to skepticism. if it's giving people discernment about what's most aligned for them and what isn't, right? And that's the difference. Um, versus just being completely closed and not open to anything. Those are two different things to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. No doubt. Super. So, Marla, before we wrap up, if listeners they would like to explore more about FreeMe EFT, they would like to connect with you, or maybe share their thoughts from this conversation,
Yeah.
what would be the easiest way?
Okay, so first of all, I'm always open to connection and I love thoughts. So that's great. So if you want to connect with me directly, you are welcome. Anyone is welcome to email me at Marla, Marla, at YU, the number 2, shine, SHINE.com. Marla at you2shine.com. You can get to me directly. I'm happy to have conversation and receive any feedback or questions. If you want to learn more about our FreeMe EFT technique, you can actually go to our website for that at freemeeft.com. That's free, FREE, me, M-E, EFT.com, and learn all about what FreeMe EFT technique is, learn about our certification program, all the different ways that it can be used. There's some video there. There's just amazing resources there explaining about it, about our founder Victoria Rader, and then you can also go to our website at youtashine.com.
Superb. Well, there you go, listeners. I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes to make it easier for you to explore further. And Maya, thank you. Thank you so much. This was a very enriching, very powerful, I believe, introduction to FreeMe EFT and the work that you are doing. We got to know the origin here about Victoria as well. So I got to know so much here about how incredible our bodies are. So thank you so much, Marla.
Sana, thank you for having me, and I'm grateful to you too, and really grateful for creating this podcast and this amazing community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marla. And the listeners, I think this has been such a grounded and honest conversation because um, it's not about chasing calm or forcing positivity. It's about creating enough internal space to respond instead of react. So believe me, listeners, I mean trust me, for all of us, I think the takeaway isn't this tool will fix everything, but it is an invitation to notice where stress is stored, how it shows up, and whether having one more option for release might help. And that's what exactly mindfulness is. So, thank you to everyone for tuning in to this episode. Until next time, take care of your inner world and remember that mindfulness doesn't mean avoiding life. It means meeting it with clarity. Until next time, this is your host Sana, and this has been the Mindful Living. I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.